Can everybody hear me? I think so. Different setup. Sorry, guys. Smaller screen. Hopefully this should be better. Hi again, everybody. This is crazy with my internet. Evidently, this live is not working out great tonight. I've heard a lot of people say that's been happening to them when they speak about Sebastian. I don't know how true that is, or yeah. Hi everybody. Tammy, there you are. Dixie, Lakina Morris, Ashley Graves, Catherine. Hi dollies. I was on here already on my computer, but my computer is just like not agreeing with me in my new space. I think I just got to have the internet, like the connection checked in this space. So, hi. I have to redo it. It's a mess. I am in my new space. So you guys see, for those who haven't seen, this is my family altar back there. It's for those who, like I said, for those who know the part of me that I am I practice in the craft. I do my candles, I do my workings in here. I create things for clients. So like I said, I will be setting up a way for those people that want to order candles or order herbal blends or herbal scrubs or anything like that. I will be placing up a link for you guys to order from, or I can show you on here and give you guys like a Cash App or something. It's simple like that. Thank you very much. So I have, for those who don't know, who weren't on the last live that might have, haven't been able to join, I just want to do a recap because we've had some issues with the connection here in my new space. I've had 2 different people reach out from fake profiles on YouTube that stated they were Sebastian Rogers' father and that they needed help finding their son. So I definitely see that things of the nature that we speak about with Sebastian, there are really people involved in trying to hide what's going on with him. 2 different profiles, 2 fake profiles. Like I said, Sebastian's dad would have reached out to me, and it's really shitty that people are still trying to go after these people on YouTube to try to find things out about Sebastian or what people know about Sebastian. So that's the unfortunate part. Tonight's goal is to talk about open cases, and we will be talking about Nancy Guthrie. I did mention some things a few minutes ago, but like I said, the connection didn't go too great. So I'm definitely going to have a specialist come in and check it, but we can also do these here on my phone. Or there's other ways, like iPad or something like that. Bright Smiles 3 says hi, hello. It's been a while since I've been on. So when we get up there, I'll give it a few minutes for more people to join. This way, I don't want to keep repeating it for those who have already heard it. It's definitely a different space in here. It's definitely a different vibe in here. It's more calming. It's a lot more grounding in here, and it's easier to cleanse in here as well too. I did ask my nephew about the Nancy Guthrie case due to the video that was sent to me and why I picked up what I picked up. In the video, the man was holding his gun in the front, and it was very strange to me why he would hold it there. Most men don't do that. They carry it to the side. But it's what I picked up about the man in the video. Like I stated, to me, he has a gimp or a something wrong with the left leg. And I know there was more than one because I heard them talking amongst themselves. So, hold on a sec. So, this is a space that I've made in my house, yes. Not inside of my house, but this is an add-on to the house, yes. It's very cozy. I like green. I like earthy. Sometimes you might be seeing me doing a live with a tripod, and I'll be sitting in my chair. So, other than my desk, I'm at my desk right now. So, Miss Tammy, hi Dolly. So, let's get back to Nancy Guthrie. I really want to. I liked it too, but that was more of a business office space. It didn't feel cozy to me. Plus, it was highly spiritually active, so it was very also uncomfortable in many ways. I couldn't cleanse as I was there. Here I can cleanse as much as I want to. You know, you guys will see me cleanse. I can also teach you methods of cleansing too now that I'm in my actual space. The way to walk a cleansing space, the what you can do to cleanse a space, and more so. You're getting kicked out of this live, Tammy? With right now? So the Nancy Guthrie case, the man that was in the video, to me, this woman also would have known one or both. And to me, the man at the video camera, to me, he was in the military before, or possibly the man he was with was in the military before. But the man with the left leg, he seems to favor the right leg more so. To me, he has something wrong with the left leg. And what I picked up about the case was these people got into her home and they kept asking her something, and she kept telling them, I don't know. And hi, Christine Johnson, 77. And I also heard a man say, this is why I believe there's more than one. I heard a man say, what are we going to do now? We can't fix this now. And to me, that's a man talking to another man. So I think they either knocked her unconscious and hurt her accidentally. It wasn't supposed to be something that was supposed to be, it was supposed to almost make to look one way, but really it wasn't. And I don't know if they were looking for something, and I don't know if these men thought she had a safe in her home. I don't know. This wouldn't have been your typical take off the jewelry from her, rob her home, steal her wallet type people. These men were there for a purpose, but it's also like she knew who they were, or at least one of them were. I'm hearing Guthrie. And I wasn't sure what to make of that, because to me, this isn't someone, this would be someone she would see every now and again in passing. Maybe this has to be somebody like the family knows specifically. So this isn't just some random stranger, I don't believe. Is she passed on? My objective was to immediately go to the suspect to see what I could find out about him. And hi, Daphne. And the first thing I immediately picked up was he has a bad left leg. And the way he carried his gun kind of made me question what that was about. Oh, Diana, that makes sense. Diana says, I have a very strong feeling her oldest daughter, her husband and son, he was in military. And I keep getting the last name. I'm not sure why just yet. In the beginning, I didn't feel she was passed. I felt like this was a, maybe she was rendered unconscious. But as time has gone on, yes, as time has gone on, I'm not sure if I feel that way just yet. I don't know if I feel she's passed on. If she is passed on, I think that it was accidental. I don't think it was go in there and kill her. I don't believe that. I didn't feel that. I felt it was an accident because the men spoke to one another and said, what are we going to do now? We can't fix this now. So I think they kind of maybe knocked her out or something, and it just, she didn't wake up possibly. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that far yet. I wanted to do this with you guys. The other odd thing that I picked up about was there's a couple that seems to be, like I said before, the last live ended that I couldn't get it to work. I just don't know how it fits for her just yet. It was almost like an obsessive compulsive feeling to it. This couple, I don't know how it fits for her, but it was for her, sort of, so to speak. Just it seemed two people very obsessive, very controlling. It's almost like when someone breaks away from you and they don't want to be your friend anymore, and it's that kind of thing that you see on TV. It's a very strange occurrence in this case. There's something about this case that's very off-putting. Hi, Lane. I'm glad to see you again, honey. I did my best to stay on the computer, but I'm on my phone. I have to have the internet connection checked in here. But to me, this is somebody that would have obsessed, possibly didn't get what they want from her, and this could be connected in some way, and it's just being shown in a different manner to me from like an outside source being shown. Could I ask if the name is Fred? I had, let's see. So earlier I'm trying to show you guys this because this is different for me. I don't usually do my lives with you guys on the phone. Car, and I got son. But I don't know if that's Carson or Car and Son. So that has only been the only name that I've gotten so far, if that is even a name. We have to remember this is only speculation right now, and this is what has come through for me. So I'm going to read off what I do have so far. She was a very pleasant woman. She was very kind and loving. I feel she was tied up. It was someone she knew, possibly military left leg issue. Also the word sick and death. I did get the word death right here. Hold on, let me just stick my finger under there so you guys can see it. Death. So I do believe this might have been an accidental death. If it was meant for her to die, it wasn't supposed to be then, that very moment. It was supposed to be something very highly organized, highly planned. It just didn't go the way it was supposed to. And the people in charge of this aren't very bright, aren't very smart. So that's would be one of my feelings that I get. It's almost like they know how to get away with it, but at the same time, it was very stupid of them the way they did it. It wasn't very planned well. I think I'm hearing her daughter's last name. Also, something about, it was weird how it came together. I heard sick, death, also pending, find, fear, left, ground, termination, pierce, and that was the part for the leg. Also battle. I think there was, and if she fought them in a way, if she had tried to fight them in a way, to me, it wasn't because she was strong in that nature. I felt it was because she felt betrayed. It's almost like she had to have known who they were to fight back because she wasn't afraid of them, so to speak. I don't know if her son had anything to do with it. When I see the video of the man, to me, he doesn't have the characteristics of her son. I've seen everyone's seen it on the news, the way he looks. The person in the mask is not, it doesn't look anything like her son. So for me, I wouldn't think it was her son. I do feel it's someone the family knows very, very well. And meaning what? I hear the word plunge deep. Plunge deep. Oh, okay. Carson. Someone, Casey, she made a very, very important. Carson Daly is her co-host on NBC, Savannah Guthrie. So that makes sense why this is being mentioned. It just means it's in spirit, it's to let me know we're still talking about her specifically. Is Nancy Guthrie passed? I would need more. I would need more from energy, spirit, to say this, uh, because I don't. I'm getting tidbits of. I do believe it's connected in that way. Yes, I do believe this was supposed to be um, a money situation, just not in the way most people think it was going to be, going into the house, stealing, robbing. This I'm in spirit here is talking. I tried to let go. Tell Savannah I tried, but they wouldn't listen. So that's one thing that was just said. I wanted it to just be us, but she wouldn't. I don't understand what this is about yet. So just keep this in mind, what I'm saying tonight. Okay. I do. I'm assuming she's passed because I keep hearing her mention her daughter's name. She's saying Savannah Guthrie. Savannah Guthrie. The last thing that was just said was, I wanted it to be us, but she wouldn't. I don't understand what that means right yet. Plot. Kill. Pose, plot, and kill. Oh. Okay, I assumed that's what it meant. Pose, plot, and kill. But it wasn't supposed to be that way. I'm being told it wasn't supposed to be that way. It almost, it was posed to be a plot to kill her. It was supposed to be this, ransom thing. Give me this much money, or, your mother is going to be. And except it went the opposite way. It wasn't. It was just supposed to be something faked to get money, but it ended up being exactly that. And I'm wondering if that's the obsession I'm talking about. Closer to you, Donna. A few moments before I believe you popped on the last live, I got this obsession between two people, and I couldn't figure out how it fits into this situation with her. But pose, plot, and kill, it wasn't supposed to be just turn this page and see what else I'm getting. Okay, let me see if I can get her energy to interact with me in some way. And I thought that was at first a female. I actually told my husband that looks like a female to me. I have always felt that one of the ransom notes was real. Nikki, it could be. There's a lot of different strange things that happened, and it's very off. I would like to know if I can have information regarding the person that was caught on Nancy Guthrie's security camera. Was that a man or a female? Man. Okay. Are the ransom notes from any of the participants of her disappearance? Is there anybody by the name of Trevor in her family, or by the name of Trevor? Would anybody be able to tell me that? I hear Trevor. I don't know, Trevor and Tommaso. Am I saying it right? I don't believe that sounds remotely the same. I can't even use that as a variation. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. I hear Trevor and then son. It could be a man's name with a T, and it could have been his son. I want to get further into this. The man at your doorbell, Nancy. The man at your doorbell. Can I give description of a ring on right hand, pinky finger, looks raised, triangle shape to me? The person at your doorbell. The person at your doorbell, Nancy. Miss Guthrie. Is it okay to call you Miss Guthrie? Is the person at the doorbell related to Nancy Guthrie? Is the person at the doorbell related, or well, let's not do that. Is the person at the doorbell someone you knew? I'm not sure who that is, Tammy. If you have a hard time telling me, you can always show me. It doesn't make sense why I'm getting names of the people that are covering the case. It just doesn't make sense. Car's son, and then Trevor and son. That doesn't add up for me. It just doesn't make sense to me. What in this case do I need to know specifically regarding Nancy Guthrie? Because there's so many, it's so many wacky, it's so weird how I feel right now. What the heck? Okay. Okay. Did your family have anything to do with your disappearance specifically? Here's the number 2. Can you give me any names who helped in your disappearance? I'm hearing the man with the T. Almost sounded like a Tomas. But that's not, I don't know if that would be his name. I think it's the name on here. I believe that would be her son-in-law. I know that they say they were cleared, so but that technically doesn't mean anything, to be honest. But this is hypothetically speaking. What was the purpose for the break-in? What were they after? I don't understand. What did this have to do with Savannah? Savannah Guthrie. Let me just be clear on that, because, you know, working the other case with her, if it's hard for you to answer, you can always reserve your energy by showing me. You can work with my clairs that way. She's mentioning the name again twice. Shift. Lied. Stole. Grieve. Bent. He promised. What does your disappearance have to do? In what way? I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm being 100% honest with you, sweetie. I don't understand. You're talking about Epstein and clearance. What's that have to do with your disappearance? Or is this something that maybe you were possibly looking at before your disappearance? Maybe on the news or something. You weren't supposed to know. You weren't supposed to know what? What does your disappearance have to do with Savannah specifically? She showed what? I'm getting very short answers. I believe Trevor band made of Thomas. Savannah's ex-husband is very close to the Epstein files. Okay. Because I have Epstein and clearance. And then something about she showed documents. So this is what you meant by posing, someone posing to pretend to kill you. That was supposed to be the false story. That was supposed to be the frame job. Is that what you're kind of going back to here? This is what, but then again, where does this fall into? Where does this fall into? Because we've got the obsession with somebody, right? And this is why I feel discombobulated here. She's mentioning this person's name 3 times, 4 times. This person with a T. I'm seeing I have messages that are up for review. So I can only imagine what that means. Who's on here trying to let's see. I'm not sure. Savannah interviewed Epstein victim. Okay. But what would they have to do with the person with the name with the T? I think his name is it Tommaso? Tommaso? Am I even saying it right? Because this is the 4th time she's mentioned his name. Yes, Tammy. She goes from Tomas. I don't know if that was something that he was called short, but look at the number of times it was mentioned. This name right here. That's her son-in-law. He's Nancy's son-in-law. Okay, so I don't know where that would come. He would come in with Epstein clearance and obsession of two people. This is just like, oh, Anne. I heard Anne earlier. But I mean, I've heard Anne plenty of times before, so I didn't think to mention the name. But I mean, there's too many like things that are fleeting here, right? Yes. Been all over their house investigating for days, but sheriff says the family's cleared. Dropped her off the night he went to their house for dinner. Okay. I want you guys to start asking some questions here, so because you guys know more about this, but the things that are coming through, there's just so many scenarios here, and I'm just trying to make understanding of it, and it's starting to rack my brain. He was the last person to see her. FBI said family is cleared. This is what I mean. I said that a few minutes ago. I know I heard that because I saw that on the news. My husband was watching it, and he's just like, my husband's so upset for this poor woman. And it's really weird that, it's just really weird to me that all this is coming out, and it's like so many different scenarios of what it could be. Okay. Ask her about her pacemaker. Sweet soul, it could be. Sheriff said cleared, but FBI hasn't cleared. Okay. Let's start asking. Excuse me. I usually don't drink soda at night, but I'm trying to stay awake tonight because I wanted to do this. I don't believe she passed away in the home. I didn't feel that. I didn't get that. Whatever happened to her after she left the home. Something could have occurred definitely in the home, and I think she was rendered unconscious in the home. But it could be possible that she didn't wake back up. Because when I heard the men say, what are we going to do now? We can't fix this. That told me right there something crazy happened that wasn't supposed to happen in the first place. Her pacemaker didn't stop. It disconnected from her phone. Or did they take her? That's good. Okay. Okay. Let's start off with the pacemaker. Nancy, Miss Guthrie, can you please tell me about your pacemaker? They say it disconnected from, I guess, maybe a phone or a watch. Okay. She speaks about out of range. Was it purposely disconnected? Yes. Couldn't trace it, she said. How can they find where you are? I don't know how true this is if there is even if there even is a pacemaker tracker. I don't know how that even would. Oh, and I gotta check out some of your. Okay, I'll ask that next, Tam. And the okay. Okay, so they did have a. Okay, so they are tracking her pacemaker then. Oh, okay, so okay, that makes sense why she said that. Okay. Okay. Understood. Okay. Well, Nikki, that kind of makes me wonder if that's why she said what she said earlier. Because she said plunged deep. And she also speaks about, if you can see this, I'm not sure if you can, because my handwriting's sloppy when I do this, I'm sorry. I always do a variant, as you all know, so if I hear one word, I always try to write another word that might be the same, so in case I hear a syllable wrong. So I heard car, lake, or Blake. So lake and Blake are the variations, right? So I'm almost sure I heard lake, but Blake I put there for a reason. Now, here's the plunge deep, okay? And to me, my automatic thought would be, oh, plunge deep in the water. So that's why I had a feel to water. So, okay. And I'm not sure why the word conclaves would come up in this. The pacemaker will not stop after death until a very strong magnet is used or the battery dies, and batteries last up to 10 years. And that's okay. But if she was plunged deep in cold water, that might affect it some way. I'm not sure if that's even possible. That's just me questioning on maybe the laws of physics. Really deep plunge cold water, what would that do? You know what I mean? To equipment. Think about that. She showed documentation. That would be for me something I would want to ask about. Ginger Bell says, absolutely yes, water will affect it. That would be my only understanding of plunge deep, right? I mean, you can plunge deep into an ocean. You can plunge deep into, down into something deep, dropped off a hill or a steep downfall. But to me, plunge deep meant, I take that as water. Was her power of attorney, and she wanted, sorry, I gotta look at this message. Because he wanted money. Okay. Sorry, I have to. Diana says the reason asking about car is because a call came in that night to police of person in a blue car screaming of as someone was driving. She was partially hanging out the door. To me, I'm thinking she was already subdued. She was already unconscious at that point. Yes, Dixie, thank you for redoing that, because that was my next question I wanted to ask. Will you ask her who the other DNA found in the house that wasn't any of the other families? Yes, I will ask that, Ginger Bell. The DNA found in your home, Miss Guthrie, whose DNA was that? Because it didn't belong to anybody in the home. So whose DNA did that belong to? Can you tell me that? Okay. We're going back to the man with a T. Okay. I'm not really sure how to say his name. Not Trevor. Okay. I'm not talking about Trevor here. So forget about Trevor at this point. I'm talking about the man with the T. I'm going to say, I believe I heard Tomas as short. I think that's how she get me to cue me back to him. But she said his whole name after that 4 times. And then she says Link. So I'm thinking maybe this was an inside job and an outside job at the same time, if that makes sense. Yeah, thanks, Tammy. That's a lot easier. We're gonna, as Tammy says, we're gonna call him Tommy, because it's just easier to understand who I'm referencing to, because I really don't know how to say his name. Thanks, Tam. That's a good one. Yeah. And to me, he almost doesn't look Caucasian. He looks more of maybe almost a Hispanic, maybe, around the mouth area. Or could be, yes. I don't want to say him specifically. I'm talking about the person in the mask that I've seen. Okay, so can we just go back to this person in the mask again? Okay. Can I just ask you one more time, just in case maybe we had a misunderstanding? The person in the mask that got into your home and rendered you unconscious, did you know who that person was in that mask? I understand. She's talking about there was 2, there wasn't 1, there was 2. She's correcting me on 1. There wasn't 1, there was 2. Okay. I understand the link. Yep. She talks, did she have a rug in her house? And I don't know if you guys will even be able to know that. She speaks about rug and DNA fiber. Rug and DNA fiber. See, that's something different. Okay. Her doormat, there was blood. Okay. By Matt. Oh, okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. So she's talking. So she's referencing the rug on the outside of her home, not the inside of her home. Something was found in her house, but they won't confirm that. Oh, so everything in the house is hush hush at the moment. She's speaking about the rug and DNA fibers. So something has to be on a rug with DNA fibers. And I don't think she's referencing her because we would know DNA fiber of hers would be on the rug, right? Okay, that's a good one, Tammy. That's a good one. Yep. We're going to ask. They said biological evidence in home. Okay. So, Miss Guthrie, where did the blood come from? Shoe. Okay. Okay. Was it your shoe that it was coming from? Did they hurt you when they were trying to take you out of the home and maybe you banged your foot? Or are you saying they... Can you make me understand what you're trying to say there? Something about a shoelace. Bloody shoelace. Did they hit you somewhere on the body? Or did you fall? Which one? Can you tell me what happened that night? And I know that's probably hard for you to tell me, but the best thing for the public to know is what really happened to you so they have an idea. And what do you mean shook? They shook you? Somebody shook you or tried to get you to listen to them and you didn't want... It's almost like she's showing me looking away and they shook her because she didn't want to look at them. You know, I think that's out of fear, you know. In the middle of the night, you know, you don't know who's who, you know, you're getting out of a dead sleep. And what part of the body, honey, did the blood come from? Where were you bleeding from? She speaks about the head and neck. So something about she fell forward. He wouldn't leave. Back to the man's name again. The T. Accident. They wanted what and you didn't have it? I'm confused. She's kind of giving me a confused feeling, but I feel like I know what she's trying to say. It's almost like she's trying to show me she was dazed, you know, in the moment. She's waking up out of this sleep and she's terrified because these people are waking her up. And they wanted something from her, but they didn't realize she didn't have it. She says truth. Give me 1 second because I want to go back to the person that keeps asking about what color vehicle, because they did ask like 3 times. Miss Guthrie, what were they exactly looking for? Mastermind, I won't go into what other psychics say. I'm only giving you what I'm coming across. What they see is what they see. That's their difference. We are all different in each way. Fight. Yes, I remember. This is why I said in the beginning, I don't know if it was this live or the live on my computer, that I stated that when she realized who it was, she didn't feel she wanted to fight back with them. That was actually what I stated in my last live here on my computer. Because once she realized who it was almost like, oh, I don't have to fear this. I don't have to fear them. I'm going to fight. But in that moment, you're dazed, you know. I don't know how many times my granddaughter wakes me up in the middle of the night. I'm like, whoa, who are you? Because you get that in that frame of mind. Hold on. Did your son-in-law, did he go into your home the night he dropped you off? No, he came back out, she's stating. Ginger, she says no, he came back out. Oh, sorry. Was your son-in-law in your home the night that you disappeared? She says, here we go with the number 2 again. The number 2. It's almost like she's saying number 2. It's like the person's linked to him. Did he let someone in your house? Key. They're on camera, though, trying to get into your home. Oh, so he was there before. So like I said, he prior to the incident, as if he was there before. Hold on 1 second. Makes sense because he dropped her off at 9:45 and her pacemaker disconnected at 1:45 or so. Goes to the garage door in front where he left. Was it one of your son-in-law's friends? She said, I told you before. You know, in that video, Casey, you know how some people leave the key under the lock, or the key under a rock? I assumed that's what he was going for. That was the one thing that I found odd. Yeah, we keep asking her the same question, so I think part of it's like in a little bit of annoyance. Hi, Julia. I missed you too, honey. It's very good to see you. So, we have a person at your front door. We have a person at what other part of your house? How did they both get into your home? Because only one is on camera in the front of your home, trying to get into your home. How did the other person enter your home? She's referencing key again. Key. You know, something is bothering me about this, right? It's almost like she's trying to cue me to, yes, the man was at the front door. He was trying to get in my house. But someone came in with a key through the back end, because she says key again. I bet you the person on the camera was the, I guess you could say lackey, the person that was trying to show people, oh, I'm breaking in, look what I'm going to do. When really, the person that was going into the house was going in with the key. And this was posing as a robbery. So the behind of it all came in with the key, if that makes sense to you. Does that make sense to you guys? It's clicking to me. The pose, as she put it, let me reread what she put. Pose, plot, and kill. We have someone on camera, clearly, right? It's trying to break into the home. But what's the true predator was the one coming in with the key. This is what I meant by it doesn't feel or look like what it's supposed to, if that makes sense. To me, it feels strange, like posing, but now it makes sense to me. Yes, now it makes sense. Yes. I'm thinking that the distraction was the man on camera, because even the way he moved and the way he, didn't you guys find it odd the way he showed himself in the camera, right? And then he's got I want to say the light in his mouth. You can see his facial features. That's not the problem. He wasn't trying to hide himself, if that makes sense, except for the mask itself. And then you try to put like stupid little brushes from the ground in front of the camera? What sense did that logically make there? It's almost like a distraction for the person that really went inside the back. It just felt really wrong. Right. Bubbly bath, yes. You know what I mean? He didn't seem like he even gave a shit that he's on camera, or I'm wondering if he knew in some way that those cameras possibly didn't have memory to them, a data card, something like that. He was way too comfortable at the door, right? Insanely comfortable. I don't think, Tammy, that would have been a smart idea. You picked up some old brush you know, off the ground to try to disconnect the camera. That doesn't make sense. You held the light in your mouth. You're on camera, and your eyes are shown. Your mouth is shown. It's so weird. Yeah, he was definitely not in a hurry. I think he was the distraction, and the person went in through the back with the key. That's the plot twist here. That's the pose, the plan to kill. This wasn't supposed to be. And I think that's why they're also keeping it hush hush, because they know that the real deal came in from the back possibly, and they're just trying to find that evidence. How close is she to the house? That's a good question. Your remarks are going up way too fast. Hold on. Victory says, how close is she to the house? I will definitely ask that. Will I get an answer on that? I don't know. They won't say much about the back doors. And doesn't that make sense to you now? Because being shown this man in the front, very comfortable, very calm, most people aren't that comfortable getting into a home. Think about that. People want to be in and they want to be out, and they're most likely scared. They're shady looking. It just doesn't make sense. Now it does. I will ask if this Dominic is involved. Absolutely. Hold on. I'm hearing the name Shannon. Was Shannon on here just now? Like, people aren't that stupid and that calm. It makes no sense to me. Okay, so back to the questions. Does your daughter, Annie, very little being revealed? Well, tonight we got a little something, because the distraction was the camera, the front door. So what's the first thing the police are going to, what is the first thing that the police are going to work on, right? The camera footage. They think they have something there, right? When the real deal is going around the back. That's where the real robbery or the real break-in occurred, because that person was probably already in very quickly, already in that house, taking apart anything that needed to be taken apart, disconnected from the pacemaker, so to speak. And he's getting in, and what's already done is probably already done. And he's, the man on the camera is probably the one saying, how are we going to fix this now? This wasn't supposed to be this way. You know what I mean? Think about the logics and how it's being shown. Very, very shitty. It's, you know, people are just evil. I'm trying to go back to the one question I saw. Ask her if Tommy was wife. Miss Guthrie, do you know if there was a Dominic involved in your disappearance? She's showing me the man in the mask. Again, do you know who that man is? We're going back to the link. Okay. I wonder if that's like a nickname, or is she just calling it a link to the man that we spoke of, Tommy, even though she's calling him by the actual name. Does your daughter Annie know what happened to you? What do you mean? Lie took. So she didn't even cry. Miss Tammy wants to know, is there a Carlos or a Luke involved? I have to ask these questions, honey, because these are the names that they're coming up with. And, you know, it might be something that you might know and we could actually say on this live. If I'm being a pain in the butt, please just let me know. I'm trying to help you. She singles out her daughter Savannah a whole lot in this. She keeps referencing her name, but now she's showing me her face, her picture. I want her to know that I love her. I think it was really, I don't want to say, I feel like it'd be rude for me to say this. Sometimes there are children that do more so with their mother or father as they age than others. And to me, that was her. That was Savannah. I don't know. Like I said, sometimes there are children that do more for their mother and father as they age, and they realize that, they feel that. That matters. People don't realize, children don't realize the effect that they have on their parents as they age. As you age, you feel so left out. You feel unloved. You don't feel part of the family. People are overlooked. People are felt as a bother. And I think Savannah made her feel absolutely just loved. And I think that's why, she's gravitating towards her, because Savannah, I feel, loved her unequivocally with nothing behind it, I'm going to ask some questions about the other daughter, maybe the son too. Her son is more closed in, she's saying. He's more gentle, she says. Her son is gentle. What about Annie? Can I call her Annie or Anne? She talks about this other daughter and says, lie, lie, lie. Is there something that I can tell the public about your other daughter? She's saying, I don't have a lot to say. I think that speaks volumes about the situation. Sometimes parents love in a way to where they'd rather just not comment on things like that because it's hurtful. It feels hurtful, It's your child. You raised, and sometimes they don't turn out the way you want them to, and it's hard. Yes, but that technically doesn't mean they might have took care of maybe more daily care, but there's also resentment there. You have to understand that. Where Savannah, when she visited and she was with her mother, the feeling was more nurturing and loving. You can be a caretaker and not care about somebody. they could be a bother to you. They could be, you know, that I have to do it because I have to do it, or it was most likely because she assumed she was getting money. Not to speculate, but then you have her daughter Savannah, who might have cherished that time that she did have with her mother, and you could see it. Miss Guthrie, I don't know if you're aware, but the police searched Annie's house and they took her car as evidence. I don't want to say evidence, but as, not to speculate, but to search it, to run DNA traces, to see if there's anything going on in that car. Something about, okay. So the word trace. Okay. Trace DNA. Now, where would that be? In the vehicle or the house? Well, I mean, you've been to your daughter's home, so wouldn't they find your DNA in her house? Or are we talking about a different kind of DNA? Like your hair is supposed to be there because you've been there. You know, your follicles from your skin, as we, you know, your skin follicles, when they dry, they can fall off. There's a lot of different types of traces of DNA that can be found at her house. But one in specific we're talking about here, okay? I want to specify that with you. Did they find any DNA of something that occurred at her house? Did something happen at her house? The only thing she's showing me right now is she's doing this with a necklace. She's doing like this. She's trying to show me something with her necklace. She's doing this. Her exact, what she's trying to show me, her necklace. Necklace on her neck. I do, Barbara Ann, yeah, RN, that very well could have been. That's what I meant by resentment towards the mother. You know, I'm only, you know, I have to take care of you, but whatever I get in the end, it's going to make up for it type feel with her. But you don't get that with Savannah. You get the time cherished with mom was very special to her. And it could have been that she did not tell her daughter, Savannah, what was going on, or if she felt the way she felt, because she didn't want to burden anybody. And that's the problem with elderly. You know, they don't, they love everybody so much, they don't want anybody to constantly worry for them. They want to see everybody happy for themselves. They don't want to be a burden to anybody, and that's, I feel like, was one of the issues. She was a good person, but I also think they wanted to keep her home with family, and sometimes family can just be as bad as a nursing home. Okay, hold on, I got 2 questions. Closer to You says, Miss Guthrie, do you know the vehicle that took you away? Can you tell me what type vehicle and what color vehicle? Can you tell me that? I swore she said a white truck. I swore she said a white truck, but I just want to be, that could just mean a bigger type vehicle that was white. Right, sweet soul. She talks about she showed documentation. Um, you weren't supposed to know. So I think things were going on with the mother that she didn't want to burden Savannah with, because it feels that way. Also, the word truck and Billy, but Billy is a consistent word in all of my readings. So Billy might be a constant person stepping in, that always wants to be heard. So I just want you to see that Billy's on the bottom of here too, guys, okay? But we all know Billy's a frequent flyer name in my readings. And I feel like this was an accident. It wasn't supposed to hurt her. Right, Laura. I heard white truck, but again, when we hear truck, we could also mean a bigger type vehicle. Sometimes they only know how to word it one way. The man at door, there is 2 videos, 2 different days. Trying to break into her home. So again, very comfortable. So I think, I need to ask this. Did she really disappear on the day she disappeared? Was it Annie's responsibility to make sure the security subscription was paid, or Nancy just forgot to keep it? Miss Guthrie, why wasn't there any subscription on the camera system? She says it was old. Okay. Is there a reason why that there was no subscription on it? That, you know, to try and save memory on it, so in case anything did happen, this would have been saved. This would have been she said, it was old. I wanted it to run out. It was always money, 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 money. About money, money, money. So I do feel like the daughter might have been asking for money all the time. Or just in the general sense, they were always wanting money. Good question, Dixie. I will ask that. But I have to be careful there. This is, especially if this is an open investigation with that bureau. I don't know if I can be flagged in any way, I can be in trouble in any way. I have to be careful with those kind of things. Because, you know, even if it's speculation and what I do isn't technically FBI standards, we all know the things that come through a lot of the time are dead on. Let me just read this again and I will ask. Law enforcement was in your house 2 days after you went missing, taking photos. What were they taking photos of, Miss Nancy? I'm being shown, again, a rug. but it has blood spatter on it. It's not your little bit here and a little bit here. It's a good amount on one spot. Also, she's talking about hair. So again, I think when she said hair or head and neck, she may have fallen or fought, and she might have hit her head on something. And I think that's why we kept hearing, great, how are we going to fix this now? We can't fix this now. Is there anything else that the police were looking for in your home? Maybe receipts? I don't know what you mean by that, honey. She's talking about cash withdrawals. Receipts. They're very clever. But I mean, if they were... Okay. I'm not aware of that video. Okay. Was asking, was Annie using blinking as cryptic signaling to kidnappers during the video? Was your daughter using body language of any kind to speak to the kidnappers through the TV interview? I didn't get much of an answer on with that specific question, except for there was one in the front and one in the back. That's what she's referencing with your question specifically. I think they were looking into the cash withdrawals for receipts. They were very clever about that in some ways. But they were always about money, 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 money. Miss Nancy Guthrie, honey. Is it okay to call you Miss Nancy or Miss Guthrie? Miss Nancy, okay. Do you remember the night you went missing? What were you wearing? I don't know if she's referencing like something red on, maybe a red top and some bottoms or a Nike, but she references she likes the color red. And I wonder if the daughter was getting paid to take care of Miss Nancy, because the son-in-law being the power of attorney, and I'm going to say this from personal experience, when in legal documentation, if you're getting paid to take care of your mother, your father, a family member that lives in your home, you are not allowed to be the power of attorney. It has to be somebody other than you, because you cannot get paid and be the power of attorney. So I'm wondering if the mother was getting services, like the daughter was getting paid to take care of the mother, and that's why he was the power of attorney. So I think that's the legal issue there. I'm not sure why Savannah wouldn't have been the power of attorney. But I think maybe they wanted to have possibly kept it that way because she lived there, you know. Yeah, she's saying his name again. Some of these messages are coming up blocked, and I don't know why, because I don't have... well, that's how it is where we are. You are not allowed to be a power of attorney if you are legally, by state law, getting paid to take care of a loved one. If they're living in your home, or you are their caretaker by legal standpoint, as in you're getting paid from an employer to take care, which are home services, that's what they're called. It could be a CDPAP program, it's called, where a caregiver can be related to you and or not related to you, and they take care of you, but they can never be your power of attorney by legal standpoint. Which I can almost bet you that's exactly what it was. 99.9%. It just hit me. The mother must have been getting some sort of health care services through the daughter, through some sort of health care service. It could be, there's so many different types and so many different names, but being in that area doesn't mean they have the same here. Arizona, yes, I'm aware, is very dry. What kind of water she have? Maybe she found it. Louisiana doesn't care. But we are... Yep, Laura. See, that's a lot of places. A lot of places must do it like that. I'm not sure of other states how they do it, but here that's how we do it. You're not allowed to be a power of attorney for a loved one if you are being paid to take care of them. Yep, she would have needed help. So it's probably a lot of, you know, I'm just the one, you know, you have to look at the two as well. You know, the sister who stayed back to take care of the mother, there's some resentment there, because I do feel like Savannah and her have a much more tighter relationship. You see the smile there, you see the love there, you see the genuine there. And then there's the sister who stayed back to take care of the mother and doesn't feel appreciated, so I'm going to take her for whatever I can while she's here. Let's get to this hard question. Miss Nancy, can you tell me, because I meant to ask you this earlier, can you tell me how far away from your home are you? Do you know how far away from your home you are? Yep. Okay, let's try this. If you don't know how far away from home you are, that's okay. So my point, because she spoke about key, and then when she showed me the man at the front door, it clicked with me. It was like she was trying to show me that was the posing, that was the distraction, that was what it was supposed to look like, a break-in, when really the person's coming around from the back with the key. And I think that's why it's so hush-hush inside that house. So we asked how far away she's from the home, correct? So what does she say? She says Guthrie. She says lake. Dry, desert, and then she says lake again. So it would make sense to hide it up front, right? Because most people hide their key in front. Some people hide it in odd places. But to me, the person that came in the back already had a key. She would have had to have, they would have had access to it whenever they needed it. So it would make sense why this guy was so comfortable, because he knew the guy in the back was going in and there wasn't going to be an issue. So I think I want you guys to think about that as a foolproof plan, as you call it. Don't worry, because whoever is in the house is already doing what they need to do. Now, when I asked her how far away is she from home, she said Guthrie, lake, day, desert, lake. So let's try it. Instead of asking her how far away she is, let's ask her if she can give us a location, what it looks like, a landmark, something like that. Right. Okay, Miss Guthrie. Miss Nancy. Can I say Miss Nancy? I'm more comfortable with Miss Nancy. Let's work on the location quickly first. My lips are dry. I don't have my lip gloss on today. Miss Nancy, I know I just asked you how far away you are from your home, right? How about when you look around, what do you see? Do you see a body of water? Do you see homes? Do you see desert? What do you see around you right now? Can you describe like a landmark? Can you describe something that would help people find you? Why do you keep mentioning your name when I ask about the location? She goes right back to the name. Do you see anything around you at the moment? Do you see anything significant that you can say, this is here, this is there? Can you tell me if there's anything surrounding you right now? Is there a body of water? Is there a lake? Is there a home? Is there a business? Anything that we could possibly pull from? As she tells me ship, I hear the movement of water, and I hear something clanking on the metal, like a. You ever hear a buoy clink on metal, or something in the water that clanks on metal, and it has that specific sound? Barbara Ann says Lakeside Lake and okay, so there is water. People are talking about water. Can you show me? Okay, so I saw the pole almost looks like a reddish rustic color. Bay. I'll call it a bay. Okay. If I'm wrong, you just correct me, okay? Because I don't want to say it wrong. I'm wondering if there is a street named Guthrie, a boat dock, Bubbly Beth. So it has that, like, when the wind blows and there's something connected to it, you hear the bing, bing. That's what I hear, and I can see the water moving. It almost reminds me of like a beach, but where there's possibly like places to go camping, you know, things like that. I'm not sure. There's a Guthrie, Arizona. No way. Laura K072 says there's a Guthrie, Arizona. I wouldn't call it wind chimed. It's a very, if you've been to like a beach or a lake or something, and then there's that, you know, maybe where people tie their boats or something, and you hear the clanking. That's what I hear, clanking. Miss Nancy, is there anything that you would like the public to know? Because the public knows very little what happened to you that night. They only know what's been spoke about in the news. Is there something that we haven't spoken, that we don't know, that's going to come out eventually? Can you tell me what that one specific thing could be? Okay. Well, she said, I wanted to know why, and they laughed at me. I think in the time of her death, or the time of her capture, I don't think she understood what it was truly about until she finally realized, if that makes sense. No, Casey, I wouldn't say that to me because I see water. I see water with that one post. So that's why I'm putting water to this. And then she put deep plunge earlier. So to me, I feel like she's either by water or in water. So that would be, I mean, I don't know how cold, well, I mean, the temperatures now, right? I mean, but then again, that's Arizona. How cold could the water actually really be? I don't know. What would the depth of the water, what would the temperature be in the depth of the water? You know what I mean? It would make sense why they checked the septic tank, if that makes sense. Nancy, Miss Nancy, just to be clear, can you tell me if you are in a body of water? Are you in a place where you're in water itself? Or can you just blatantly flat tell me where you're located? Can you tell me if you're located on land or sea? I want to say that it's my water because she shows me, you know, when you step in the sand and you leave that footprint. I see a footprint in the sand, the wet sand. Are you in water, or do you know if you're in water, or are you? I know this is hard for you to answer, sweetie. I hate to even ask you these questions because even though I'm talking with you and we're having this conversation, we're clicking with one another. I'm also just so used to this. Sometimes I forget the hardship behind it, and I don't mean it to be so callous sounding. I'm just trying to get information, sweetie. So, in some way, maybe your daughter Savannah will see this in some way. Guthrie. Okay. Are you saying the place Guthrie in Arizona? Or are you just repeating your last name? Arizona. Okay. How far is this place Guthrie from her home? Do you guys know how far away this place is? So it's 168 miles to Guthrie, Arizona. Okay. 2 hours. Miss Nikki says she can't find this place called Guthrie. Apache Lake, Pleasant Lake, Cannon Lake. Thank you, Miss Shelby. Miss Nancy, will there be an arrest in your case? Will somebody be arrested in your case? Will you be brought to justice? Will you be found? I think she's saying with time. She's mentioning the son-in-law again. I think she was supposed to stay alive too. Like I said, this wasn't supposed to be what happened. Good question, Gingerbread. Was this a place that your family went to on vacation? I'm not sure if she's still with me. Miss Nancy, are you still with me? I don't feel her energy now. Let's just give her a moment. I don't know if she's taking a break or gathering herself. What? I'm not sure. I think she's... I'll wait a few minutes. I'm just holding off and waiting for a few minutes to see if she makes her energy present. Miss Nancy, if you're still with me, did they place you in water? I'm not getting even an answer. I think she's just done for the night. Yeah, I don't have her with me right now. Sometimes they just come and go like that. It's not anything personal. I think they just get tired without the body. Miss Shelby says, I have a question about a Jessica. Hold on. I don't know who these people are. I have a question about Jessica and Eli Limp. If she doesn't come back, they were murdered in Saratoga Springs, Utah. Okay. I said the same thing, Julia. That for me was a pull towards blocking out what's meant to be on TV, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Yes, distraction. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way towards Miss Nancy. Because either way, she should have coverage of where she was, where she is, what happened to her, because she was a human being. Something happened to her. Give me a moment. I just want to be sure before I hop into anything else. Maybe we could ask her husband, Charlie. Yeah. Hi, Miss Cool Molly. I think it has to be a place, like I said, with water surrounding it or possibly in it. Temperature matters. But I think that anybody that moved her, I think knew, because they probably would have looked it up. I mean, go do your research for a second, guys. See what you get. How do you, what stops a pacemaker? What stops it from working? Okay, I will take one more case to see what comes through. There was someone on here that said something about, I believe, oh, here it is. I think it's Miss Shelby. I have a question about a Jessica and an Eli. Is it a Lyman? They were in Saratoga Springs, Utah. Maureen, I have two, I screenshot them purposely so I could go back to them. Her daughter is a friend of mine and she found them. That's terrible. I have two YouTube fake, I'm assuming, channels that stated they were Sebastian's dad and that they wanted me to help him find Sebastian. Sebastian is my son. I really need help finding him. And I'm just like, this is not Sebastian's dad. Where are you? You know what? Probably. I haven't been on here. So, you know, as soon as we stop posting about Sebastian, they wonder what we're up to. They wonder what we're looking for. They wonder what if we found anything. So when I wrote these names down, Jessica and I believe you said their names are Jessica and Eli Lyman. Okay. Laura K072 says, with almost modern pacemaker devices, a person can descend to 100 feet or more below water. So what are we talking about here? I know what we're talking about, but I mean in general. So I'm not sure if Jessica and Eli are both children, but the first thing that I heard come to mind are murder-suicide. Now, does that mean... Okay. The first thing I heard was murder-suicide. I usually don't get that immediately. Usually I'll go into a stance mode of what would have happened to the child first. And that was the immediate thing that I heard, murder-suicide. That is a very hard thing. That is a very hard thing to, if you look at the circumstances in that, how often does a mother take the life of her child and then take the life of herself? So there had to have been underlying mental issues or life was so bad for her and she thought there was no other way out. Oh, you're talking about magnets for the... Could very well be. And I mean, I can almost bet you the people in this case knew how to stop a pacemaker. So that, you know, how is it undetectable? That's my question. If it's out of range, is it undetectable after so many feet? They have footage of someone going in the house. Now, does that mean when we hear murder-suicide, does that mean she murdered her son? No, it doesn't. It could have been someone that murdered her and her son, later killed themselves. We see that far too often. It could be made to look like it. Yep, it very, very well. But murder-suicide was the first thing that came through. There was nothing behind that to make me feel that it was something different. This could have been a jealous boyfriend. It could have been a stalker of some sort. It could have been anybody. But for me, this clear as day murder-suicide. Unless, here's another theory. This came to me, murder-suicide. Shot the child, possibly, and then made her kill herself. Murder-suicide. Not sure why that was just spun to me this way. To make it look, when you said that, it made me, something clicked. They want the person to murder the child and then themselves. So there is no hand in it themselves, if that makes sense to you. It just a very strange, we lost that last part. For me, that makes a certain amount of sense to me. So it makes her look in a certain manner. That's why when it clicked to me that way, when I said it could have been a murder-suicide and then he killed himself, it was an automatic spin around. It was almost like she was forced to do that to her child and then to herself. The only thing that I didn't understand in the Nancy Guthrie cases, why she mentioned the conclaves to me. Do we know what the conclaves are? How many of you know what a conclave is? Ginger Bell says pacemakers are designed to be water resistant, but prolonged submersion can lead to malfunctions that the risks are higher in significant depths. Plunged deep. This has to do with the Vatican. Conclaves are when they go to the conclaves to vote a new pope. Yes, Lane, 100% right. So I'm wondering why she mentioned that to me. That's the only thing I feel off about. Yes. Behind closed doors, secret meetings. The son and her were fighting over money. Secret assembly. So that for me is like a key word that was put in there to kind of make us understand what was going on in those doors, in those behind the closed doors. Conclaves is when we choose a new pope, they go in, they vote on it, they wait, and they let the smoke rise. And then there is no answer from any of the pontiffs. They will vote the pope in, and the black smoke will billow out, and that's how they know when they've made a choice of the next new pontiff. That as well, Ginger Bell. I'm assuming she means things behind closed doors, meeting of something behind closed doors. But Ginger Bell made a good point. Conclaves also means in Latin locked room. So remember, behind closed doors and locked room. So I think that was thrown in there for us to make us understand that. Oh, Shelby. Okay. Yeah, I'm betting that he made her do what she did to the little boy and then herself. That to me was a spin around for me. When you said I was assuming then he killed himself. No, the spin around was when she was crying because she didn't want to harm the child, but then she was made to turn it on herself. Unfortunately, that is going to be something that he will forever have to live with, and that's not going to stay hidden forever. It's going to come out eventually. Michael Joseph Vaughn, if you have time. For him, I just hear cases open. It's not a closed case, correct? No, not on on the Vaughn case. Yes, has been missing since July 27, 21, right after summer vanished. Oh. With everything coming out in the news the way it has been, and what I stated in Summer's case about the trafficking is right there in front of everybody's face, it just all makes sense now why everything is happening in the open. It's happening right in front of our eyes, and people don't even realize it. Now with everything coming to light and coming into the news about how the traffickers were in front of people with children, that for me was a really hard thing to see. Let me see something. A William. There's a lot of evil in this world. And my question is, everybody talks about how this one did this one, and this one did this, and this one did this. But how do you think that they were able to traffic children the way they have? To traffic women, children, teenagers, babies. It wasn't just the higher ups that were able to do it. There was a system set in place, right? Think about that. You have a systematic circle set up where there are trusting people in the circle, and they could pull people in. And that's teachers, that's doctors, that's lawyers, that's judges, that's, you name it. That's how the system was working. Yes, and that, I feel like that's what was meant for when I said this trafficking ring is going on right in the public eye, and no one's catching on to it. No one's taking notice to the people that were around Summer. I mean, to a certain extent, yeah, it was noticed with offenders and things of that nature, but no one really knew how deep it really is. How the impact of it all is right in front of you all. And with the Epstein files, it showed us it was going on right in front of our faces. And no one thought to report these people, because the more that comes out, the more evidence there is against a lot of influential people. The horrendous things that they did to children, to women, to preteens, to boys, to babies. I don't even want to go into detail here, but you have to realize, be that paranoid parent, be that overprotective parent. Did you know the people that go into the schools and take pictures of our children for school day, for school picture day, they're in the Epstein files. I will never allow or pay for another school picture again in my life, ever. You have people that are taking teeth out of children, that are just the most insane, horrendous, inhumane acts. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then it hit me. This is what Rose Bly meant by it's happening right in front of them. It's all around. Again, missed that. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was not assassinated by the kid that's in jail. He did not do it. I want you to go back to this, what we were just talking about. You can go look this up. It's in the public. It's on any platform you can find it at. He wanted the Epstein files released. And if I'm not mistaken, 2 to 3 days later, he was assassinated. Think about that. You can leave me tonight and go look up that interview. Charlie Kirk wants the Epstein files released. Look that up. You'll find it on YouTube. You'll find it on any platform probably you're on. He wanted the files released. And he said, I don't care who it is, they need to go to jail. His wife, that woman, is just as guilty as the people she's around. If you've seen her demeanor, if you've seen things behind it, she was actually in the Epstein files as there was a place in, if I'm not mistaken, Russia or one of those places over there, where they were trafficking girls out of the beauty pageants. Romania, there you go. Yes, Romania, perfect. Now, ask yourself, out of nowhere, Charlie Kirk's wife says, I see a lot of values in J.D. Vance, like my husband. J.D. Vance needs to run, because if he gets himself involved with that woman, he's already involved in a lot of things now. I shouldn't be saying this stuff on here. Things are going to come crashing down in the media very, very soon. But think about this. All of the things that we have been talking about are in the Epstein files. For God's sake, in the Epstein files. They talk about immigration. They talk about they don't want immigrants here. But immigrants aren't eating children. They're not murdering them. They're not doing the most sick, evil, sadistic things to them. The files are so insanely grotesque that I found myself almost gagging where I sat when I started to read them. And the things that are going on in the media, you know, the Charlie Kirk, I'm going to say, to me, that was the first thing. Because that was one of the main things that was supposed to be bigger, right? And it went from that to the next thing, to the next thing, and to the next thing. It's stalling tactics to where they are trying to find ways so people are not put in jail for the crimes that they've committed. I don't care who you are, Democrat, Republican, liberal. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't care if you're the Pope himself. If you hurt a child, or you did something to a baby or a child, or just in general, you need to go to prison. That's it. There is no left, there is no right. If you hurt a child, you need to be gone. You need to, the death penalty needs to be for child molestation. This has been happening for decades, 100%. But at the same time, this is the first time that we've only seen a fraction of it, and there's a fight over why is there things, there's no the redactions, like there's only certain points, there's millions of them that aren't shown yet. So think about that. And the understatement of the year is, let's worry about people who get food stamps and buy snacks with their food stamps. Let's worry about the immigrants that are coming in. Let's worry about ICE and all this other stuff. The ICE thing in Minnesota, why do you think that it's been so crazy as it has been? They need the shock and awe to get you away from the actual facts that are starting to come out. Think about that. And there are people that are blind to it. It's all over the world, 100%. But is it right? No, it's not. People in other countries are arresting people that are in the Epstein files. But we are the only country that has not made any arrests at all from the Epstein files. Think about that. Think about that. When is it okay to murder U.S. citizens for protesting? And I'm not saying that it's okay to throw things at people or stand in the way of law enforcement. I'm talking about the men that shot a woman in the head 4 times. I'm talking about the men that shot a man in cold blood as he was on the ground. They did not take a gun out of his hand. They took it out of his holster. You're allowed to carry a gun in a peaceful manner. It's the law. Look it up. He was not there harming anybody. He was not. They murdered that man in cold blood. Any agency that murders their own citizens should be listed as a crime against humanity. Those are war crimes. Period. I'm not on here to make this political. But when you see the shit that we've seen in the Epstein files as rituals and all this other crap, go look it up. Go look up Epstein's family. They're all satanic worshipers. Go see who his best friend was. Harvey Weinstein and all these other people. Why do you think that negative energy is so bad? I want you to think about this. There are objects that are haunted. There are objects that can cause hauntings. There are objects that can bring in energy to feed a source, right? So when we have a satanic worshiper that are killing and eating babies, best friends with producers and scientists and all that, we are in the Epstein files listed as cattle. Okay? We're listed as cattle. And they will use the media and make these sick demonic movies. When you watch them, do you know what you're doing to your spirit? You're feeding the source. It's feeding off your energy. So right now in the world, there is so much bad energy with the fighting, with the wars, with all that's causing a source of energy of a negative sense. And the more fighting and hate, it's building, it's building, it's building, it's manifesting and manifesting. It's being fed and it's being fed. I don't know if you guys noticed in the last year or so, but I've noticed a lot of energy that's shifting. Yes, evil feeds evil. That is 100% true. And last year I felt it. Last year I felt it more so than I have in a very long time. Last year was the first time around Halloween. And first of all, you guys know I'm pagan. You guys know I don't do anything in my practice that would harm anybody, or, I use any ability that I have is used for good deeds only. Period. I make herbal blends to help heal either a sickness or a skin rash, or I teach meditation, I teach people how to use their ability, and so forth. I honor my ancestors. Things that I do are a fraction of what most people practice in this world. But anything I do out of the goodness. I send water to places that are in dire need of droughts, things of that nature. But when we live off a source of negative energy, for whatever reason last year, I felt this energy so deeply last year. Usually when the veil thins, things come and go. We all know this, right? We all know that we're able to communicate with the dead more. We know that we can communicate with our loved ones easier. Last year I felt something more potent, more not of a good presence. And needless to say, when the veil closed, I don't think that it ever left. I think it stayed because there's so much negativity here, sprawling and thriving, that it wanted to stay here. The veil only allows us to communicate easier, but sometimes some things can slip through. And I think that in the times we're in, with the hate and the viciousness and the killing and the sick, twisted things that are coming out, the universe is exposing. The universe is exposing everything that it needs to expose this year. This is the year of the fire horse. Exposing is going to be the number one thing this year. People are going down for the shit that they're doing. But when we have, well, happy birthday, Lane. When we have the amount of viciousness and the sickness and the gross, grotesque things that are happening to the innocent, that is unforgivable to the universe. The universe does not forgive when you hurt an innocent. And the sickness that went on in them files, and I'm going to say this, Epstein is not dead. He is not dead. Ghislaine Maxwell, go take a look at her photo from some 5 years ago and look at her now. When the DOJ walked in there, I want you to look at her photo now and look at her photo from years ago. The nose is completely wrong. The chin is completely wrong. Everything about it's wrong. I'm thinking that they went in there when they tried to get her to give them information and got her out of there because they knew she was going to end up in that cell the same way Epstein did, even though, go look at the report of the mortician that said the picture that they took of Epstein, and look up the sheriff that admitted he helped Epstein get away. I can't make this up. Go look it up. And he was found shot a couple days later. He is not dead. You can't make any of this up. You can go find it on the internet. Go look it up. It's real. There's a man in Israel that's identical to him that is walking around with bodyguards. I mean, this guy's identical to Epstein. It's really twisted and really gross that we, as a society, will protect pedophiles before we protect children. And that's where I draw the line. I don't trust anybody after those Epstein files came out. And everybody's like, oh, you know, you're too overprotective. No, I'm not. I know the world. I can look at a person and see them for who they really are behind the mask. And I just don't even, I do not screw around when it comes to my kids or my grandkids. And all the things that I've just told to you, go look them up. You're going to be stunned. The mortician that said, which makes a lot of sense, when we go to the other side, our body just becomes, at first it relaxes. Go look up at the mortician video of Jeffrey Epstein. The picture that they put up of him. Oh, yeah. You know, someone once said, we are the #1 country for trafficking. And I kind of was like, no, but we are. And I always said CPS, Child Protective Services, was one of the main gateways to child trafficking. So, for me, there's a lot of things that connect to the Epstein files, and it came up in Nancy Guthrie's case, which I think is very strange. Lauren, the mortician on YouTube. Go look it up. She shows you the picture that they posted. Go look up at the sheriff that was shot and killed, and there was a statement that was made that, you know, he helped Epstein get out. So, this is where we are in society. It's us making sure that we protect our babies, because if we don't, no one will. And the circle of pedophilia is just so immensely huge. I didn't even think that it could possibly be that bad, you know. But Prince Andrews, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you saw that. You know, posed over a young girl. She couldn't have been no more than 10 years old, maybe. And in a photo, sitting next to a little baby smiling, this vicious, sick smile. But the dominoes are going to fall. In some way, somehow, in time, they're going to fall. And this is all going to be brought to full light. This isn't going to go away. This isn't going to be something that's going to be done in 6 months. This is going to be talked about for years and years and years and years to come. And there's going to be people that go to prison and go to prison and go to prison. Because the time has come for someone to be held accountable. And I'm sorry, Trump is not doing it. He's helping them. Did you know he went on national TV and said what he said about Prince Andrews? Pedophiles protect pedophiles. And that's all I'm going to say. Because there is evidence that shows Prince Andrews is in them files. And the fact that he was okay with that. And he said what? Go look at what he said. It's sad and it's sickening. It really is. Now, Sebastian. Tomorrow's the anniversary of his disappearance. Tomorrow's my husband's birthday, Lane, by the way, 24th. Now, I think it's a little strange that I have these, and you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot those and I'm going to put them up, of these fake accounts that said they're Sebastian's dad. And because I took 2 specific photos. Thank you, Miss Dixie. I have 2 specific photos that I took. They're in my photo gallery. And they both state, you know, this is Sebastian's. Sebastian is my son, and please help me find my son. And I didn't even interact with them because I knew. I knew right off the bat, you know, what was going on. And if I was Sebastian's father, and this is how many years now? Think about that. How many years later are we? I would be suing CPS for withholding abuse records towards his son. I would be suing the sheriff's department, considering the sheriff's department, it's well documented, he's buddy with the Proudfoots. Oh, Gingerbell, I'm going to post them. I'm actually going to post them on my YouTube channels for everybody to see. It's going to be a comment section looking photo, so you might see more than one comment. But I tried to what I'm going to do is I could leave it in the comment section photo so everybody can see, you know, what comments were under them or above them, but it's up to you guys. I can either screenshot it and make it smaller so you can see directly, or I could just leave it as is. I prefer not to edit because I just feel like it's just, you know, what's the point? If I like to see the rawness and things. I know you're supposed to edit your videos and all this other crap, but you guys know me. I don't get into none of that stuff. I don't really care about none of that stuff. When we're still here, how many years later, and you have the amazing police force that hasn't done anything for Sebastian, at what point can we honestly say it's time to get someone else in there? I'm assuming the FBI is ahead of this, I'm assuming, or is involved in some way. And I feel like the FBI is probably doing more for Sebastian's case, believe it or not, if they are, than the sheriffs are. So I guess I have to have faith in the FBI. I don't think that the FBI would cover up Sebastian's disappearance like a sheriff does. I have faith in them. I think that they will come to a standpoint where they're going to have to investigate it. They do it after a certain point, but it has to take so long, I guess. They have to step in at some point, because at some point all the dots and the T's are there. They're all there. Why isn't anybody doing anything about it? Think about that. And someone sent me a video of another YouTuber, which I listened to for a short period of time. I don't think I listened to the whole thing. Great lady, sounds like a great lady. I think it's called, I want to say, Crime Time. Welcome, Miss Laura K, to our family. We have a new perks members for our perks program. When we do our live for our members, you guys have to let me know what you're interested in, because I like to teach you guys. Now that I'm actually in my space here, you guys are going to see more videos of herbal blends so you can make them yourself. You're going to see more oils. You're going to see cool candle tricks and things of that nature. So those are going to be some cool things that I'm going to be teaching you guys. I'm going to teach you guys how to make salves and things of that nature that actually work, and they don't just, you don't just throw them together and boom, it's that fake stuff you buy in the store. Any salve I make it works. It works for pain. It works for healing. So I'm going to be teaching you guys a lot of that stuff, but also internal energy healing. You have to learn how to internally heal your energy, because on the outside is great. We could try to be healed from doctors and all those things, but what you do to yourself and how you heal yourself and what you eat and what you do to your body, it all makes a big difference in what we do. I do want to try to do something for Sebastian Wednesday. I really think that it's appropriate. It's just considering the timing. I will try to do something for Sebastian Wednesday. Oh, that's okay, Laura. No worries. Well, Ginger, you have to ask yourself, why did the sheriff post that picture of him, though? Knowing that he didn't look like that. That should have been our aha moment. Why did they post a picture of a boy that didn't look anything like that? You got to ask yourself really those hard questions. And they listed him as a runaway. We know he didn't run away. He didn't run away. We know he didn't run away. We know what happened to him. We know there was massive abuse going on in that house. And for anybody to say otherwise, you have to really blatantly ask yourself, what are you missing? What are you not seeing? What are the details that you are not, what are you not understanding about the case? If you really look at the case, think about that. School reports. I mean, he said he was choked. He said, and then someone sends me a picture of he's got bruises around his neck. So a lot of that stuff that he spoke about is in those CPS reports. Yeah. Definitely. And it's really strange that they would post a picture of Sebastian that young, knowing he was the age he was, knowing he didn't look anything like his photo. So people were probably looking for a boy and not, a teenager. I mean, and the shoe thing that he speaks about over and over and over and over and over and over again, not having shoes on, not having shoes on. I think the narrative of that, they want you to think that he ran out of the house out of fear and all this other stuff, so he hurried up and ran out of the house. I'm a mother of an autistic child. And from what I understand, Sebastian stepped on red fire ants. So Sebastian is not going to take that chance ever again and do that and leave without shoes on. They want you to think that he just completely took off in a hurry, he left, and he didn't look back. And anybody on here wants to come on here and argue that with me, I don't give a shit, you can. Because that boy didn't just disappear off the face of the earth. He didn't run away. He didn't get kidnapped. He didn't get kidnapped. Okay? He didn't get kidnapped. So the narrative that's driven in his case is that he was special needs. He wasn't of his mental capacity. He was this, he was this, he was this, he was this, he was this. How about what he wasn't? He wasn't loved. He wasn't taken care of. What mother do you know throws a menu at their child at a table? I saw that and I was disgusted. Say what you wanna, say how you feel. I don't give a shit. That boy deserved respect, and clearly they felt he didn't deserve it. I don't understand the narrative that you could have, or I don't think the nourishment for your child was there, because I feel like you felt he was a burden. That's how I feel about that case. And when you have a monster like that living in your house, and you can't speak, you can't talk, you can't eat, you can't this, you can't that. I mean, look at the way he talks to reporters. He just talks to anybody any old way. Oh, thank you, Ginger Bell. You are awesome. Thank you, Ginger Bell, for the $20 super sticker. We all know what CP is about. He is an overbearing little man with a power-driven ego who finds women with children to abuse. And he knows it. And he cannot come on here and argue that he doesn't, because anybody he's been with, they have the same story about him. He's pathetic. And he can never battle with me because I'm not his wife. And where I grew up, sweetie, there ain't nothing that scares me. So, sadly. And my question is, where do we go from here with Sebastian? What do we do? We're going to have to look at the sheriff's department, and we're going to have to look at the corruption cases there. We're going to have to report it. We're going to have to keep going, because if we don't, Sebastian's case will just go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into nothing. If it was my child, I would hope somebody would help me. The fact that KP hasn't wanted people searching for her child, they took down missing posters, they don't want people looking, they don't want help from Dog the Bounty Hunter, which I think is so odd, because Dog could have gotten far. It's a really unfortunate situation when you have this much corruption and ability with a family that they get away with the things that they get away with. It might happen there, but someone's going to step in and someone's going to take charge of that situation and start asking questions. I do think Sonny Weatherford, the ex-sheriff, I will say this, and I will speculate, and I'm doing that on purpose, if you know what I mean. I don't think that what happened to him was an accident. That's it. I'm going to say that. There's a lot of corruption in that area, and it's a lot going on. There's a lot of CP and KP and his parents. I mean, we have people that are coming on talking about them and saying how abusive he was, and nobody thinks that something happened to that child under their care. In most states, the parents are the first people to be looked at, investigated, and if police feel they really did it, they'll keep looking. And they know that they did this. They know that this boy went missing under their watch. CP can say he wasn't there that night, but it's been proven by many times that he was. I mean, let's look at it. We've seen the camera footage to where it looks like CP on Texas Roadhouse footage. Let's all go back to it, shall we? You have to ask questions at this point. It's how many years later now, and the sheriff has not done any interviews except for one here and one there. That's it. And defend the Proudfoots. So it's time we start exposing the sheriff's department for who they really are, right? Because they're not doing their job. So I'm going to leave this with you guys tonight. Wednesday, what we can do for Sebastian is I would say come up with some questions that would be worthy of asking that we already haven't asked. You have to think about that. What questions on my channel have we not asked already? We've asked a lot of questions in his case, but maybe we need to shift our investigation a little bit. Maybe we need to shift our investigation to the sheriff's department. Let's start sprawling out their bullshit and all their secrets that they keep hiding. Think about that. What is the sheriff's department hiding in Sebastian's case? Let's find out. Let's see what happens on Wednesday. And I'm sure we'll have visitors. I'm sure we'll have loudmouths popping on. So what do? We smile and keep it moving. We smile and we don't allow them or give them space. And everybody that sees a nasty comment on here, screenshot it. Screenshot it and you can find out an IP address. I have law enforcement in my family too. So, with that said, everyone have a great night. Thank you for being here. It was great to see everybody again. I will post a time for Wednesday for Sebastian. I'm not sure how good you guys are with timing at night. I don't like to do it too early because, you know, some people have to put their kids to bed and, you know, things of that nature. So I tried to make it around 8ish or 9ish o'clock. Summertime, when summertime comes, times will probably change some. But thank you all for being here. I've missed you all. And as you can see, this is the other part of me. This is my other part of my space to where, yes, I am a pagan. I live the life I live. I mean, I am a very open-minded person when it comes to energy. So I have a lot to work on this week, and Sebastian will be one of them. And it's really unfortunate we're still here, but we need to shift what we're doing. We're focusing too much on the Proudfoots, I think. We need to start opening up into the sheriff's department, because what are we going to say that's illegal, that what they're not doing? Because at the end of the day, what they are not doing is doing their job, and the people pay for them to be in that office. So I definitely would think that it's time for everybody to step up for Sebastian and start realizing voting him out of office is going to be your one option. The other option is reporting any crooked things that have gone on. So let's start making the sheriff's department accountable for what they are not doing. Okay? Well, everyone, I definitely had a good time tonight. I definitely hope that there's going to be something in the Nancy Guthrie case that comes out, and you guys are going to have that aha factor that we spoke of on tonight. I think that there are certain things that came out tonight that make a lot of sense now, like the man in the footage. To me, it was just so, and now I get it now. I understand now. Distraction, posing. So it makes sense why she said that. The one thing that I have with we got to think about water. We have to think about deep plunge. So we got to figure out what that means. So that would be the one thing that I would say we'd have to ask on again. You know what I mean? So everybody have a great night. I will see you guys Wednesday. I will post a time tomorrow at some point in the day. It might be tomorrow evening, but pay attention to the time on my YouTube channel in the comment section, the community section. And look for those 2 pictures that I'm going to post of the people that made the fake profile. So you guys have a good night, okay? And I'll see you then. Watch your 6.